Does your faith ever get shaken, especially during these very volatile periods where Bitcoin has had a steep sell-off?
The Bitcoin price continues to crash. This is officially the deepest retrace of the cycle.
No, in my entire career, I've never seen anything as compelling and unstoppable as Bitcoin.
Bitcoin has retraced over 25% thus far.
There are 8 billion people on the planet that need digital property, and Bitcoin is the dominant digital property network. So if you zoom out and you ask the question, how are you going to provide economic prosperity to billions of people at the speed of light over a computer network?
Crashes are very normal in a bull market.
There's no better idea than Bitcoin.
Crashes are also very normal in a sideways summer, a crab market. And even way back here, almost a month ago, I warned you that there was a leverage in the system that if we passed below 59,000, the longs would be wiped out, suppressing the price lower. If this were to happen around $59,000 per coin, this crashes the price lower. So let's talk what comes next. But now looking forward and understanding we just breached this monumental support. What comes next? And how much more selling from these Mt. Gox payouts are still to come.
Bitcoin sliding after Mt. Gox begins repaying users, inflaming fears that customers might quickly sell the coin.
So first off, I want to offer you a little bit of perspective on this. Also give you an update on the German government now selling Bitcoin.
The governance of Bitcoin is shady at best.
But first, this is what the mainstream media is sharing on the Mt. Gox selling.
So Mt. Gox has obviously been tracked, pretty thoroughly in Bitcoin circles. So it's an anticipated event. And there's also been a lot of trading of the claims prior to, all of this being sorted out on behalf of the creditors. So it's really up for debate as to whether 9 billion is going to sort of flow onto the markets in one go. And it's actually highly unlikely. So any selling is likely to be staggered over a period of time. And actually, there's a question as to whether there will be any sellers, because as I say, it's likely that many of the claims have already traded hands and people already are either going to hold Bitcoin for the longer term or they're going to sell. But it's unlikely to happen all at once. So it should be managed and the market should be able to absorb any supply coming through.
And she's absolutely right. There's about 140,000 Bitcoin that has been unlocked from Mt. Gox. That's about $7.6 billion that, if sold all at once, would need to be absorbed by the market. Well, just the Bitcoin ETF inflows alone could absorb that over the next 60 days. At their peaks, they were doing $1 billion in daily volume. And again, there's only $7 billion to absorb if sold all at once. Really, just the coverage of Mt. Gox has caused more fear, uncertainty, doubt than the actual selling from Mt. Gox, meaning the bark in this case is looking like it's much worse than the actual bite. And really, the sooner that we get this over with, the better. This was the last big known liquidation from exchanges that was left. This too shall pass. But what about the country of Germany selling Bitcoin?
At the moment, the Bitcoin has 2 elements going for it. One is what we can call speculation, hype, boom. And the other is, let's say, Bitcoin is a possibility to make transactions outside the legal system. This is going to go away. Therefore, I think it's not sustainable.
The 2 points that you mentioned are completely wrong.
This is the amount of Bitcoin held by governments. The United States is in first. They hold over 200,000 BTC due to criminals getting caught by the DOJ, and then the United States confiscating that. And then China, then the United Kingdom, then Germany hold the next most. And this major nation is now selling. Just in, Germany has sold almost 4,000 Bitcoin since June 30th. They are liquidating this Bitcoin into euros. We can see this on chain in the Bitcoin wallets that Germany controls. I say weak hands to the strong hands. Germany's BTC can end up in better hands now. Now, these wallets from the German government are being tracked, so make sure you subscribe. I'm going to keep you updated on this. So far, they are liquidating these assets, this Bitcoin, through Coinbase, Bitstamp, Kraken, and then unknown wallets. And we absolutely should have seen something like this coming. This is the director of payments at Germany's central bank speaking about crypto years ago.
I have difficulties in picturing, let's say, an investment in cryptocurrencies as something like a long-term stable investment you would recommend, let's say, to widows and orphans as a store of value for the next 10 years. I have really difficulties in seeing this because if you look at the intrinsic value of such a cryptocurrency, it's extremely low, if not zero.
And actually, he is speaking about crypto in general, so some of those points are fair. A lot of altcoins, so many altcoins are worthless. But what are his thoughts on just Bitcoin?
And if I then take Bitcoin, just because it's the most prominent example, the governance of Bitcoin is shady at best. You have elements of debasing Bitcoins. Of course, we don't call it debasing, we call it fork. But the difference, I would say, is just the semantics. And we have this issue of trust. And the issue of trust goes, let's say, beyond the law. It also includes, let's say, the banking system. In this case, the intermediaries around the Bitcoin. You don't need only to think about Bitcoin, also think about the whole ecosystem. And is this really a trustworthy ecosystem? I have my serious doubts here.
Again, I will keep you updated on the German government selling, so stay subscribed. By the way, the country of El Salvador keeps buying the dip. They're literally buying 1 Bitcoin per day, every day. But my general thoughts are this. First off, Bitcoin is still in a very good place compared to where we were at the beginning of the year, meaning under $40,000. If we were to just have increased linearly from the start of the year, it's been up only. But because we had the halving, not only the halving, but the BlackRock ETF launches, all the ETF launches, we went up too far, too fast, and thus we get these corrections. And really, the next dip that we've only had the opportunity to buy was right after, actually many weeks after the halving. That was about 20%, 23%. And then right at the beginning of the year, it was again about 20%. I think this is a buy the dip opportunity. Personally, I'm not a financial advisor. I have no clue what's going to happen in the future. But how many people thought like this? I'm an idiot when Bitcoin was at near all-time highs. Why didn't I buy Bitcoin at $57,000 back in March? And now today, LOL, I ain't buying this crap. When in doubt, zoom out and understand that typically it's not until 547 days after the halving that Bitcoin really hits its peak for the cycle. And I love this. Do not let short-term conditions overwhelm your judgment. Short-term is the Mt. Gox selling, the German selling. Long-term, we still have the Bitcoin and ETH ETFs, Trump, or just the presidential election with Bitcoin as a talking point in general, the Bitcoin supply shock still in front of us from this recent halving. This discount is a massive opportunity. If you got value in today's video, hit the like button, send this video to a friend who may be scared right now, and like always, see you tomorrow.